Okay, look, I know I'm supposed to sell you a composable website. I run an agency, but let's be honest, you really don't need it. Sure, the speed is mind-blowingly fast, but is it really fast enough to bypass your customer's thought process such that they literally click buy now without even thinking? I mean, that extra cash could go toward fueling more sales or your bonus. Or remember that bonus, that thing you'll need to survive while you're browsing your own website, thinking of all the cool uses you have for those products and utilizing that employee discount. Yeah, maybe rethink it. But then again, does your admin team really want to support a website that your customers are using this cheetah and finding products so quickly? I mean, think about it. You'll stand out in the industry like you just smashed your thumb with a hammer, a sore thumb, because everyone's going to be looking at your website. Your competitors will be seeing your experience going, wow, that's the best in the industry, and it's going to give them a bad taste in their mouth. All kidding aside, there are some reasons why we do not want to go composable. In fact, there's 4 I'm going to talk about, plus 1 here at the beginning, a pre-bonus. How about that? My name is Joseph, and I am grateful to be able to bring this information to you to help guide you through some of these tricky decisions. 4 reasons why you should not go composable. But I said there was going to be a bonus one in here, and that bonus one is this. You see, what I have seen is that most companies do not re-platform because they hate the platform. Interesting. They actually re-platform because they don't like the agency. Now, they might love the agency, but if the agency does not properly understand the mechanics of this website or this platform, not truly experts, they will not be able to adapt it in the way that this customer or that you will want. And it's the same way with Composable. Unfortunately, I have seen websites that are composable that are simply unbelievably slow. I am selling Composable, number 1, by its incredible speed. Yeah, great speed. However, if that is not realized in a composable project, come on. Why? What happened? Why did it? What went wrong there? In fact, I've actually even heard some agencies steering people away from Composable. Now, as you dig in and you find out that this company is actually a prime candidate for going this new composable headless architecture, and when I say new, it's new as of 6-8 years ago. It's been in the pipeline for a long time. It's just that we're starting to see some real market adoption over the past year or so. These agencies are steering merchants away. Okay, why? Well, it turns out that there is it's a little bit more complex for Composable. In fact, it actually requires a whole different discipline of developers, Next.js developers / React. But, you have to have decent talent. We have been making significant investments in this department and have some outstanding world-class talent on our team in this department. But it's an investment, and it is an investment that is well worth making because this is the future of e-commerce, and that's why I call it modern e-commerce. So with that out of the way, let's look at these 4 reasons that I think will make a massive difference on your need for composable website. Number 1, it's extra complexity. With Composable, if you look back at the video that I pulled together about the architecture of Composable and how these different pieces fit together, break it down super simple, you'll see that it's not just this base platform anymore of Shopify, BigCommerce, Adobe, or Salesforce. It's now an extra layer on top of that. Even more than that, you can actually bring in other tools like Contentful, or you can do anything you want. You can have a direct connection down to your ERP. So many different things that you can do. The thing with this, I would say the complexity is it does require a somewhat separate discipline. So with these front ends, they're typically in Next.js. Most that we're seeing is in Next.js. So Next.js requires a very specialized discipline of developer, and this is increasing. It's been increasing for years, but there are definitely fewer Next.js developers than Shopify developers. Just how it is right now. Give it 2 or 3 years, that will be different. But at that point, it's like, well, sometimes why wait 2 or 3 years, because your competition will be also jumping on this bandwagon by then. So this is a way to get a leg up on them. When we have these developers, and that's what we have here at SwiftOtter, truly qualified developers who can produce outstanding output, that is absolutely key to reducing the complexity overall. Now, number one, complexity. Number two would be performance. And it just blows my mind when I see composable websites with a headless front end that are slow. It's just shocking. Now, I'm not expecting every composable website to, in the Google Lighthouse scores, have 100 across the board. That's not real world. I would say real world is anywhere 85, 90 or better, as much better as possible. But we at SwiftOtter, when we are building a composable website, from day one to launch and beyond, every single day is always about building a performant website. And so when you don't have a performant website after going composable, it's like, what happened? Why did we even do this type of a project? Performance is critical, absolutely critical. Make sure that happens through this project, because if you don't get a performant website, yeah, that's a problem. I would say one other disadvantage, and it's kind of a hybrid between what complexity and performance is, with composable commerce at this point, there is no plug and play way to add apps into your website. You know, Shopify is literally, there's Shopify plus apps. You really can't have Shopify without apps. It's just part of kit and caboodle. They're always together, Shopify and apps. So in the case of composable, it's going to represent a bit of a reframe to your mindset. You can't just go to Shopify and install a new app. On the other hand, there's actually a hidden benefit in this. What's the benefit? Well, the benefit is those apps are often a primary culprit to your website slowing down, because unfortunately, app developers don't always keep performance in mind themselves. So by forcing yourself to limit back the number of apps that are installed, it will represent a little bit more investment overall to get that same functionality on the front end. But at the end of the day, your website will be far more performant, far more tuned to what your customers need. No wrong answer here. It's all a matter of the trade-offs and understanding which of the trade-offs is best for your customers. Number one, complexity. Number two, performance. Number three is the investment. Now, comparing apples and apples, composable will cost more. But even in apples, there are variety. Think about that hotel breakfast apple that you've had. It's barely even called an apple. It's like, I don't know what those things are called outside of being, yes, there's definitely in the species of apple, but it's definitely kind of a degenerate type of apple. Versus, I think it's a pink lady apple, the best apple I've ever tasted. I'm sure there's even better varieties than that. You bite in and it's just this explosion of flavor in your mouth. Yeah, that'd be like composable versus normal front end. Probably not that drastic of a difference. But if you look at it, if you were to be able to buy one of those hotel breakfast apples at the store, the cost difference is astronomical. I mean, there's a huge variety in cost difference. Now, I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference of price for composable versus, call it a retheme. But at the end of the day, it's going to cost more. Now, in that costing more, the goal is return on investment. So it's actually not necessarily a cost. It's an investment that you reap back savings, both savings of your admin time as well as a better customer experience, reducing in lower bounce rates because people are like, wow, this website's amazing, which improves your search engine rankings, as well as, of course, a better page speed score, which will also have somewhat of an impact on your search engine rankings. So retheme versus going headless, retheme will always be cheaper. So if cost is the far and away number one chief only concern, you probably would be better off doing a retheme, as well as a review of all the apps on your website. Number 3 is the investment. But let's look at number 4. This one is a little bit more difficult to quantify. That is revenue. So at this point, I wouldn't say that Composable is a prime time for if you have 15 million or under in turnover. Why would I say that? Well, it is going to cost more. And because you have that lower volume, the difference that you will see in going to Composable is going to be a little bit less of a percentage. There's basically like a fixed, you might say, setup cost, startup cost, which is basically involved in every Composable project. It's like building out the design, customizing it, that sort of thing, getting your extra additions in there. Like there's going to be kind of a fixed set. Now, call it bigger companies are going to have more, but that ratio is going to be they're going to have a lot more headroom between what the project cost is and their net operating profit. And so what we recommend is 15 million and under. Probably not a good ideal case for Composable at this point. However, I'll be honest, the BigCommerce Catalyst project is something that we are seeing actually working very well at under this range. So it's something that needs further conversation depending on your current platform. If you're already on BigCommerce or looking to move BigCommerce, the BigCommerce Catalyst project is something that we would take a very hard look at. It's actually, it literally takes about an hour to spin up the website as far as what we have built out, to spin it up, to get it pointed at your existing BigCommerce environment and show basically how well it works. So that's one, I would say, an exception to this rule. But generally speaking, outside of that, 15 million and over is probably a good threshold for saying, yeah, Composable probably starts now to make sense for us. Now, if you found this information helpful, we actually have more videos about Composable. A lot of information, including a video about architecture and such. Check out our book. I wrote a whole book about this. And there's a lot of information in here about Composable to understand whether it's right for your brand, the benefits that it will bring, how it specifically ties into different platforms, Adobe and Shopify, BigCommerce, etc. So feel free to link in the description below, jump here, download this. And in fact, I'll even send you a free copy, hard copy like this. Don't have to worry about the ebook stuff, getting it lost in your downloads folder and never to find it again. But yeah, I'll happily send you a copy of this and you can dig in right there and find out more information about Composable Commerce.